In the dense, humid silence of the Diquis Delta, there exists a geometry that should not be possible. Thousands of monolithic stones carved into near-perfect spheres, hidden beneath the canopy of a prehistoric world. They aren't just round. They are mathematically precise. Some reach over 2 meters in diameter, carved with an accuracy that defies primitive tools. When we subject these spheres to modern engineering standards, the mystery deepens. There are no tool marks, no signs of impact. It is as if the stone was turned on a massive, prehistoric lathe. The material choice is equally anomalous. Most are made of Gabbro, a rock nearly as hard as granite. To achieve this level of sphericity by hand would require thousands of man-hours per stone. Yet the specialized workshops are non-existent. Even more strange is their placement. Many were found in clusters, aligned with astronomical precision to the rising sun and specific star constellations, acting as a lithic map of the heavens. They are found in rivers, on mountain peaks, and deep within the delta. Thousands of them, a global signature of a civilization that thought in 3-dimensional geometry. In modern industry, we use this shape for one purpose: to minimize friction and enable motion. But for what purpose did the ancients need thousands of 16-ton ball bearings? Moving these stones from quarries across miles of swamp and jungle is a feat of logistics that rivals the Egyptian obelisks. Yet, there are no paved roads, no wheels, no tracks. The evidence suggests we are not looking at the results of slow manual labor. We are looking at a unified science of resonance. Hidden beneath the volcanic layers of the earth, these spheres have waited for a civilization that could finally ask the right question. Who were the authors of this perfect geometry? To find the answer, we must look beyond the physical stone. We must look at the echoes left in the stories of those who claim to have seen them created. The local traditions do not speak of chisels or hammers. They speak of the god of thunder, who used a great blowgun to fire these stones into the sky to drive away the demons of the clouds. In the oral history of the Diquis, the spheres were not art. They were tools. They were star bullets, objects designed to interact with the atmosphere and the energy of the planet itself. This was a technology of atmospheric stabilization, a method of grounding the celestial into the terrestrial. This aligns with the piezoelectric properties of the Gabbro stone. Like the basalt of Kailasa, these spheres are tuned to energy. They were anchors for a planetary power grid that utilized atmospheric electricity. The legends describe the masters, who could soften the stone with a single note. They taught the ancestors that the sphere is the most stable form in the universe, a vessel for storing and transmitting information. When we map the locations of the thousands of spheres, the narrative of a global network becomes a mathematical reality. They were not placed randomly. They were nodes. The bridge between the Diquis and the rest of the ancient world is written in the geometry. This was a unified science, gifted to humanity to stabilize the resonance of the earth. They called them the seeds of the earth. In the narrative records, these spheres were planted to grow the frequency of human consciousness, tuned to the stars from which the teachers descended. The how is found in the who. The teachers gave us the language of spheres because a sphere has no beginning and no end. It is the signature of eternity. As we unmask the narrative, we find that these spheres were never meant to be statues. They were meant to be remembered as the keys to a planetary engine. The spheres were the anchors. The stars were the source. This is the legacy of the Unbound. Inside, the stone is not uniform. The density of the Gabbro shifts in a fractal pattern toward the center, suggesting these spheres were engineered as acoustic resonators. If aligned correctly, a sphere of this density and shape can act as a lens for specific types of radiation. The ancients weren't just making shapes. They were building optical tools of stone. When the harmonic threshold is met, the stone becomes active. This is the secret of the teachers, the manipulation of matter through the geometry of the sphere. If we accept the frequency theory, the construction becomes simple. The rock wasn't chiseled. It was vibrated into its final form. The dimensions of the spheres are not just planetary. They are biological. They are tuned to the human alpha wave, designed to stabilize the consciousness of those within their proximity. Beneath the soil, the network continues. Thousands of dormant seeds waiting for the right signal to reactivate. The spheres are found across continents, from Costa Rica to Bosnia to the Arctic. It is a global language written in the most stable shape known to physics. The stones retain energy for millennia. They are the ultimate batteries, stored in the open air, hidden in plain sight. They were stabilizers for the planet's magnetic field. Each sphere acted as a weight in a global balance, preventing the shifting of the poles during solar events. It is a hybrid technology, natural stone infused with artificial signatures, a perfect fusion of biology and engineering. In the lost history of the Diquis, the spheres were the beacons. They provided the navigation for a world that moved by sea and spirit. They were the interface, a way for the mind to communicate with the machine of the world. Some spheres were not just stone, they were containers. The seeds contained the Mercury-based technologies of the teachers. The geometry was life. Every curve was calculated to mimic the biological rhythm of the planet and its inhabitants. The path is still there. We have simply forgotten how to follow the light of the stone. Every sphere is a library, a condensed record of the unified science that once defined our species. The spheres are dormant, but their architecture is eternal. They are the silent witnesses to a science we are only now beginning to rediscover. The perfect geometry of the spheres is just one piece of the puzzle. To find the next link, we must move from the jungles of Costa Rica to the ancient archives of Sumer. In our next investigation, we unbind the Sumerian king list, a record of kings who ruled for tens of thousands of years before the flood. Is this mythology or a lost chronological reality? Unbind the past. Remember the future. Join us next Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the investigation of the Sumerian king list. This is Echoes Unbound.